we'd like to welcome reigning Arnold Palmer Award winner Cameron Young into the interview room at the 2023 Arnold Palmer Invitational. Cameron's making his second start at the event. So Cameron, before we get into this week, just looking back at last year, I know we talked about this, as Doug said, at the CJ Cup, but what an honor it was to win the Arnold Palmer Award, especially as a Wake Forest grad.
Yeah, I think he is one of the most important people in the world of golf, especially in the world of professional golf in history. So anytime you get to be connected to him in any way at all is special, and I think is a sign that you're doing some things right. So, to win his award and put myself not only on that list of names that have won that award, but just to connect with Mr. Palmer in another way is very special. And to be, to have the opportunity to play this event last year when starting out, it didn't necessarily seem possible or likely, was really cool for me. And I've been looking forward to coming back all year. It's one of my favorites of the year. It's an unbelievable golf course. I'm very familiar with the area. My family used to kind of spend some time here in the winter. So it kind of feels a little bit like home, and it's one I look forward to all year.
And I know you said you love the golf course.
Yeah.
Just after seeing all 18 holes in the Pro-Am today, just comment on the shape of the course coming into the
Yeah, it's nothing you wouldn't expect. It's in beautiful shape. It's already difficult. I mean, the greens are already drying out. They're firm and fast. And that's, I think one of the main defenses out here. If the wind blows at all, those greens get really, really tricky. You have to have tremendous control over your golf ball. Not only, you have to get it in the fairway off the tee to have any chance. And then from there, you have to have tremendous control over your golf ball to have, chances to make birdies, just with the firmness of the greens and the speed of them. So I think it'll be a great test. And, it is every year. So.
All right, we'll take some questions out here. If you have a question, we'll get a microphone to you. Questions? All right, we'll start with Doug and then Mark. Or Mark, you go ahead and then pass it forward to
Doug. Hey, Cam, how you doing?
Good.
Two unrelated questions. One regarding the new tour schedule and whatnot, and its the new format. You obviously kind of came from almost no status to, and played really well to get to yourself to this spot over here. If you were still down in that lower status, would you be concerned at all about, or would there be some things that would concern you about this new format, kind of icing out a little bit, for lack of a better way to put it, some of the lower ranked guys in the
Yeah, I kind of, I haven't honestly seen what they announced today, but I'm aware somewhat of what it is, and I know there's some smaller fields and whatnot, but I think there's also a tremendous amount of opportunity to get into them very quickly. I think I would love to see how it would work out. If I kind of had the start I did last season, I think I probably would have ended up in a very similar spot. I had the same opportunity to get into some of the bigger events very quickly based on good finishes. So I understand there's some smaller fields, but I also know there's a ton of opportunity provided for people to get into them very quickly.
And shifting completely away from that, the run that you've been on the last year plus, we were talking to Scotty Scheffler a little bit earlier, and obviously he's been an incredible run for 15 months or whatever it's been.
On a different scale, yeah.
Can you put into words, how you psychologically keep that going? Because it does seem like the players that get hot stay hot for a while. And how are you trying? Obviously, you're trying to win your first one, but how are you trying to keep it rolling and get over the edge there like that?
I think I don't know. I feel like I did play really nicely last year, and I think there's some emphasis put on me trying to win for the first time, which of course I am. But I think for me, I have to look at it as, I could win a golf tournament this year and not necessarily be any better than last year. I don't know if it is a mark of improvement for me in that sense. I think, obviously, you have to play some tremendous golf to win out here, and I played some tremendous golf last year. I just happened to get beat by one guy a few times. So I'm really just trying to stick to what I know and continue to get better, which I think I'm doing. I don't think the results have showed it this year thus far, but I've played some nice golf, and I think if I just kind of, keep sticking to what I do, keep pounding the stone, the results will speak for themselves.
Doug, and then Kathy.
I think I'm pretty sure it was here last year where your finish, whatever it was, 12th or 15th or something like that, assured you top 50 and getting a spot in the Masters. So going to Augusta was kind of a late entry, if you will.
Yeah.
How much more, I guess, are you? Do you anticipate it having a full year of thinking about it? Which is not to say you think about it every minute, by the way, but
no, I think right about this time last year is when stuff was coming at me pretty fast. It was only a few weeks before this that I really assured myself a place in the Players, which is a huge deal your first year. And then, obviously to get into Augusta is a huge bonus, and it's not necessarily something that you're thinking about, I think, right off the bat. I think it, I kind of let it come to me a little bit last year, which is a hard thing to do, but if you set that as a goal at the beginning of the year and you get off to a mediocre start, it's so unattainable, I feel like. And we did a good job last year of just letting it come to us, and I was fortunate enough to get in, but I think this year being able to plan on, here's where I'm going to play. These are all, basically all the designated events is where I'll be, and to just kind of have the peace of mind to know I'm going to get into all those ones I want to play, and I'm going to have all the opportunity in the world this year to play some golf on some very big stages has been comforting, and it's definitely easier just knowing right off the bat that I'm going to get to play and all that stuff.
What causes you the most stress in this game, besides the press conferences?
Yeah. It's hard to say. I think we're kind of getting used to a lot of the top players being together on a weekly basis. And obviously there's a few guys that come to mind, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Max Homa, at this very moment in the game of golf that you just have a hard time seeing past them, I think, on a weekly basis. You know that at least two of them are going to be right there. And I don't know if it's stress as much as you just know from the very beginning you have to beat so many good players that it's easy to put some pressure on yourself to play perfect golf when in reality that's not what you have to do. But I think the hardest part right now is just kind of like I said, letting it come to me and knowing that I am playing some good golf and the finishes haven't quite stacked up to that. But if I just keep plugging along, doing the same things and trying to get better, I think some good things will happen.
And lastly, for me, your best finish this year was the Saudi International. I'm just curious, what was the incentive to go, and what did you take out of the trip?
It's just one that guys have played. I know a bunch of guys went over last year. I think it was 10 or 15. I don't even know. But it was just an opportunity presented to me, and I kind of, went not knowing that there were only going to be a couple guys. But it just, at this point in my career, that was an option presented to me for that week. And, I'm glad I went. And as you guys know, I'm playing a full PGA Tour schedule, and I'm committed to being here.
Kathy, on the left.
Over here.
Sorry.
Right here.
Yep.
Fourth row, third row.
One with the umbrellas on. I'm assuming it was a huge change for you to start this season compared to starting last season. Mm-hmm. Were you exhausted at the end of last year? How much time did you take before you sat down and took a deep breath and figured out what you were going to do for this year? And how much did you adjust your goals, if you did?
I was definitely tired at the end of last year. I think I played 26 times, which is a lot of golf. And I know some guys play more than that, some guys play less. But I think getting through that and, getting to the fall where I only played twice was really nice. I got to spend some time with my family at home. We had our second baby, and I was really able to kind of step back a little bit and not necessarily reflect too much, but kind of just start over and make a new plan for this year, which has been a lot easier knowing where I'm going to play and knowing I'm going to have the opportunities to get into all these events. So, yeah, I mean, I was definitely tired, but I think that, 2 or 3 month stretch where I only played a couple times was really helpful to kind of reset and, make a good plan that I was happy with for this year.
We got another one.
Hey, Cam. Congrats on your great year last year. When you look back, what did you learn the most from those near misses at the Open Championship and at the PGA?
I think more than anything, just kind of taking away that, winning an event like that is something I can do. Having been that close, there's, little things that went on during the course of that week that are very avoidable for both of them. And it's just one of the things that I kind of look back on and think is something I can improve. It's easy to say, well, if I hadn't doubled this hole or whatever, I would have won. But I think it's more learning from those mistakes and understanding that, there's going to be a couple times here and there where just something simple is better than trying to make a birdie or whatever it is. I think it's just stacking up that experience and using it to make the best decisions you can week in and week out on every shot, every day. I think all just adds up to being more comfortable, and I think hopefully will kind of translate into maybe not making one of those mistakes when I'm given an opportunity like that again.
All right, we'll go to Dave and then Doug up here in the front.
Cam, it's been a few years since that Monday qualifier in Omaha. Do you ever think back to just a few years ago and where you are now, especially if that alarm clock hadn't gone off a few minutes?
That question gets asked quite a bit, so I think about it all the time. I mean, it's obviously been an interesting, 2 years basically at this point. I'm very fortunate to be where I am. There's so many things along the way that could have gone just slightly wrong, and I wouldn't be sitting here. So it's easy to look back and think about how much more I could have done with my year last year. And at the same time, it just wouldn't have taken much for me to not even have the opportunity to play on the PGA Tour or on the Korn Ferry Tour at that time. So, I mean, I look back just with gratitude that things worked out the way they did, and I have the opportunities that I have today.
And then I get the Kansas City, Chicago, 2 weeks. I mean, have you ever played golf at that high level? I mean, leading 8 consecutive rounds and just running away with both?
I obviously played really nicely. I think especially that second week really played into my hands a little bit. It was awful weather, and it was playing pretty hard, at least for a couple days. And I think it was a really good time for me to go into that event knowing that I was playing well and knowing that I could beat everybody if I played well. So I think the circumstances of that event kind of played into my hands a little bit. But, I mean, I've played some golf very much like that out here the last year. And obviously it hasn't led to a win, but I don't think there's any reason that it can't.
Doug?
What kind of scores were you shooting in the Monday qualifiers when you weren't getting in?
Oh, man. I feel like I shot 4 to 6 under a lot and was on my way to the airport really, really fast. I think one of the days in San Antonio, I think there were just 4 9-unders. I think I had shot 6. I think I shot 6 like the third group of the day and had already missed out on the qualifier. I mean, I don't remember exactly. I know one of the rounds, I think it was for Kansas City that year. I shot like 2 under, and that one happened to be 4, and I was so mad because like I'd been shooting 4 and 5 and 6 under all the time, and you go out and shoot 2 under and like only miss by a couple. It was really frustrating. But yeah, I mean, those Mondays are brutal. It's 150 good players going to try to shoot 60, and every week a couple of them do.
Was it harder? Was it harder to get out here or harder to stay?
It's hard to say. I think the initial opportunity is really difficult to come by, especially if you're going the way of Mondays. It's just, no matter how good you're playing, you just don't shoot 7 under every day. And to get through one of those, you have to. It's 7 or 8 under almost all the time. I think there's really hard parts about both things. I think it's hard to get out here and trust what you do and keep playing well, but it's also really hard to get your first opportunity to get somewhere, whether it's Q School or Mondays or, Canadian Tour, whatever it is.
And then last one for me, out of just sheer curiosity, when you, in terms of learning experiences over losses, when you take a case like the PGA, where you're right there and make a blunder on the 16th hole, or St. Andrews, where you shoot 31 on the back and someone's one better, which one's easier to stomach at the end of the week?
It's hard to say. I think they were both kind of unique to me in a way. The PGA, I felt like I kind of wasn't really in it for quite a while. And then all of a sudden, like on the back nine on Sunday, I was right there. I think I made the turn, probably tied for the lead. And it didn't really feel like it the whole way. I don't know why. I think I maybe shot 1 over the first day, so I kind of just was creeping up. But I think they're really different in that way, because St. Andrews, I think I led the tournament on Thursday and then was second on after Friday, and then third or fourth Saturday and Sunday. So I think they're just very different. At the Open, I was right there the whole week, and at PGA, I kind of felt like I snuck up and all of a sudden had a chance to win. So they were very different. I don't know if one hurts worse than the other. Neither of them really hurt anymore. I understand at this point how well I played and how much opportunity that's provided me moving forward. So I'm not necessarily still upset about either of them. I think I'm able to look back and realize that I played some great golf and had some good opportunities, and the more of those I have, the better.
Another one in the back. We got time for 1 or 2 more.
Hey, Cam, you mentioned earlier about the level of fields now between the designated events and the limited fields. I'm curious what your experience was like playing with so many of those guys during the President's Cup last year, and what that experience was like and how it was to bond with some of those great players.
Yeah, a week like that is very unique, and for someone like me, I mean, as a rookie on the PGA Tour, those aren't necessarily the dinner tables you kind of picture yourself sitting at starting out. So I think more than anything, it was a great week for me just to, become more friendly with those guys and get closer to them, in the sense that, they're all obviously tremendous golfers, but to get comfortable personally, just to, be able to sit and have lunch with any one of them, or talk to him about whatever it is. So I think mainly it was huge for me just to kind of get more comfortable out here, not only in a golf sense, but on a personal level too.
Any other questions? All right, Cameron, we appreciate your time and best of luck this week.
Thank you.